This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, good morning. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
So we are discussing ODATA with mapping, and we understood we mapped RFC, BAP-E. Now what we do, we will map one such help. I will take some such help. This is the element such help. So we also can map such help. Let us do that. This is the such help. So I'm also going to check a dictionary structure which has these three fields. If you go to S11, this is the such help which has these three fields. So I'm going to SCGW and creating a project. Description, local object. Even we can use the same project also. As usual, select the data model, right click, import DDIC structure, and give some entity type name, and let's give the same ABAP structure, and also we are creating entity set here. If you go to next, we are selecting all the fields. At least one field should be identified as a key, and that will be discussed today or Monday, the significance of that key field. Finish. We created entity type, entity set. Now it's a mapping, so we need to map the data source. Here also we are going to display multiple data, so this is the method. So right click, map to data source, and this case we need to select such shell because it's not either RFC function module or BAPI. So such help, so give the such help name. Now press enter. If you do propose mapping, it may not work here because sometimes it identifies, sometimes it doesn't identify. Why? Because here in the result list also it contains same field, and here also it contains same fields. That's why it confuses which should be mapped, which need to be mapped. So what we do now, we have to map, because this is the result list which displays data. This data should be passed to this entity set. Now let us map one by one like this. Now generate runtime objects. So it generated data model provider class extension, data provider class extension, and model name. These are related to service registration. Okay, so to register the service, we need a model and we need a service, technical service name. Okay, so once we press enter, Now we generated runtime artifacts and everything. Now what we will do now? What is the next step? Can anyone tell me? What is the next
Service,
step? Yeah,
register the
we need to,
service.
yes, we need to register the service. So go to service maintenance and register the service. So local object, press enter. Now execute the gateway client. Because we are going to display data, so yes, get is the relevant method, and the entity set, this is the entity set. If we execute, because it's displaying all the data, so it's taking time. Now you can look the data now. It's loading still because use data is there. Now you can look back the data material. It's an XML default. We can also check JSON if you want by adding this JSON using add URI. You can also look the JSON format. See, so we understood till now how to map RFC, BAPI, and SACHEL, but this is the same approach we follow others as well. But here, if you see in this system, we also able to see another option, business object repository. Business object repository means we create business objects SWO1. We create workflows and all based on business objects, right? So you create one business object and then you create some methods inside business objects. So you can also use that business objects methods and all. Okay, this is one of the another option. But how to map CDS views and all, because in this version we don't find one option because it is not updated. It should be updated some enhancement pack or some patch. Then you can also see here dictionary view. There if you select the dictionary view, again it has options whether it is ABAP dictionary view or CDS view. So we can also do that, but let me show you. It's you know already how to create a CDS view. So they are creating CDS view by selecting DDL source. These we already know, but here if you understand ZCDS sample one is the CDS view name or DDL view name. Now, as usual, they are creating ODATA service now. So see whatever we did, right? As you create a project, now import dictionary structure, give you a web structure and selected fields. Now you can look here. We don't have this fourth option, business entity. So here this is the map to data source screen. You can look here as well. See map to data source, local, remote, data source attribute, but here we are able to see only three: business object repository, remote function call, and search help. But here same screen, the fourth option is there, business entity. If you select business entity, then you have options again in the business entity source. You have option to select dictionary view or CDS view. Here we selected CDS, then you give directly DDL view or CDS view name here, and then it's the same. You can map your fields here. Then that's it, done. So this is how you can map CDS view as well. But anyway, I'm going to start now OData service without mapping. It is the important one. Here you can also use AMDPs and CDS view inside CRUD methods. That also we will discuss now. Now I am going to start OData service without mapping. Okay, here you will get 100% clarity. All methods, how to test get entity set, create entity, update entity, delete entity, how to give signature, in which cases which method is called. We are able to understand all these things now. So is it clear, everyone? Any questions? Can we go to the next topic? Are you there, guys?
Yes.
Okay. Now I will take a scenario. So now I create a new project now, but in the same project, I try to create multiple entity types or data services. So you will also get idea now. Our requirement is we need to build an UI5 Fiori app, and in that UI5 Fiori app, we need to display multiple customers data in a table UI element based on country, based on some input, and also at the same time we should create customer data, we update customer data, we delete customer data. We have to do all this kind of operations. So for that, we need to create one OData service, which should have all the methods: get entity, create entity, update entity, delete entity. For this, we are going to do without mapping technique. So 1 minute, guys. I will come back in 1 minute. Just please be online. Hello, yeah, I'm back. So I'm taking ZKNA1, which has a structure already the fields. Maybe we will use the same ABAP structure to create entity type, entity set. We will use the same structure. Now let us go to SCGW. Here, let us create a new project. First step is same. We need to create entity type, entity set. So first let us do the first step, then we will talk about the next steps. Select the data model, right click, import DDIC structure. Maybe you can give customer and give the ZKNA1 ABAP structure name here. And we select the checkbox. Next. Select all the fields. Next. So at least one field should be key. We will also discuss what is the significance of this key field now after a while. As of now, I am selecting Kunar as a key field and let's finish. So till now we created, I think, okay, maybe, I don't know, have I created new project here, but I created entity type, entity set in this project. Anyway, let me do again. Right click, import DDIC structure, give the name of entity type, and next. Select all the columns. Next. Kunnar, finish. So first step is completed. In with mapping, second step is we mapped the data source. In with mapping technique, we selected the relevant method and right click and we have done the map to data source. That is what we did in second step. So first step, we created entity type, entity set. It is common for both with mapping and without map. In with mapping, second step is we map data source and third step we generated runtime. But here it's not with mapping. So we don't do any mapping. So we directly go to the next step. We generate runtime artifacts. So select the generate runtime artifacts. Then methods will be generated. Now we need to implement the relevant method because in with mapping we mapped and generated runtime artifacts. So because of that mapping, code is auto generated based on the mapping, but here it is not mapping. We need to do the coding. We should implement the coding. So for that, go to relevant method, maybe get entity set. You can go runtime artifacts go to data provider class extension class. Go to the runtime artifacts and go to data provider class extension. And if you go here, these are the methods. This is our entity set and this is the method. For example, my question for you guys, if I create another entity type or entity set, do you think these methods are fixed or another set of methods are created? For example, anyway,
Another set will be created.
yes, yes, perfect. Anyway, we will do that practically maybe Monday or today. In case if we create another entity set, let's say XYZ entity set, then another set of methods created XYZ underscore create entity, XYZ underscore delete entity, XYZ underscore get entity, so on so. Because we implement the logic in the relevant method. So in our case, first let us display multiple data. First let us display multiple data. So which is the relevant method to display the multiple data among these 5 methods? Get entity
Get
set,
entity set.
correct? Oh. I have a question in the chat box. Let me see. When to use with mapping and when to use without mapping, which is preferable? Yeah, anything is fine. For example, in real time, if already one RFC or BAPI is there which suits for your requirement, then you can use with mapping. But you are not flexible enough in that if you use with mapping, because every time you should change either RFC or that one, but not sure if you change that RFC whether it impacts other developments as well, right? So in order to avoid that, if you go to without mapping, you have flexible enough, you can write your own logic there. Okay, but it depends case to case. You can use either with mapping or without mapping. Okay, there is no any obligation or constraint here. Based on your flexibility, you can leverage, you can use it. Now I'm going to implement get entity set. So I select get entity set here because these are the inherited methods, right? If I click filter, at the moment I don't find anything because we have not implemented any methods here. Now I select get entity set here, and of course I go to the change mode. I select get entity set, and here you see redefine. If you click redefine, now activate it. We need to understand the signature of this method, like parameters, import, export, output, all tables, whatever parameter like import, export, changing. Now if you go back and if I click filter, see now this is grayed out actually. Actually, if you refresh, you can see this method because just now maybe I will come back. Now I'm going back to again data provider class. See now if filter is checked, you are able to see now. You are able to see now. Now you can double click the get entity set method, and here you can check in the parameters, what is the input and what is the output? First of all, let us concentrate on output, means exporting parameter. We need to pass our data to this entity set, which is a table type like see TT customer. It is nothing but type standard table of, it's a types declaration. And again, TS customer is referred with same our dictionary structure. Whatever data we want to display in the output, you can pass directly to this ET entity set, because ET entity set is the exporting parameter. If you go to the parameter, this ET entity set is the exporting parameter. Now, you have the fields here, whatever fields you want to choose. Now let us go to the method. Let us write the logic. You can write whatever logic you want, okay, but I am writing select to display from KNA1 into table ET entity set. Now let's save and activate. Now go to the service maintenance and register the service. Now if you execute gateway client, give the entity set name and let's execute. Because I selecting all customers, I might have written up to 10 rows or 100 rows. But anyway, see, you are able to see all the data. Now what we can do, I want to give some input. Based on input, I want to display the data. For that, first we need to observe the importing parameters. If you observe the importing parameters, you can click parameters. Here you see IV filter string and IV search string. Here IV filter string, IV search string. And in what is IV filter string and what is IV search string? Now we need to understand that. So in IV filter string and IV search string are the input. So when IV filter string is triggered and when will IV search string be triggered, that we need to understand now. So for that, first let me keep the breakpoint here. Let us keep the breakpoint here and let me give some syntax here, question mark, dollar filter. I will explain what is this, equal to, for example, land one. But remember this is case sensitive. If land one is like this, how do I know land one is like this? You can also check this from your ODATA project. If you go here, you know how your fields are created. See, however fields exist here, we should give the same fields there even. So if you give at least lowercase instead of uppercase or uppercase instead of lowercase, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. For example, let me show you. This is our entity set name. But how do I know entity set? You can go here and you can select your entity set. But how do I know the cases here? S is upper, and how do I know all these things? You can also check these things from here as well. You can see this is your entity set. Now, yeah, we are discussing the signature. What I am saying, instead of small t, if I give big T, for example. See, there is an error, right? Not found, and even you get red color, and here you see the error even. It's an error, resource not found for the segment customer set. So that's the reason it's very important. Okay, it's a case sensitive. Now, okay, we understood when we select get radio button, and if you give get entity set method, if you give entity set name, then get entity set method is triggered. See, get entity set method is triggered. At the moment et entity set is empty, if you execute, you can see, I think 8732 records are there. Now we need to understand how do we give input, because we need to display the data based on input. But we understood there are two input parameters like import parameters, IV filter string and IV search string. What we need to understand here, in which cases IV filter string is triggered and IV search string is triggered. So for that, question mark dollar filter equal to land one equal to IN. Now you can see ET entity set. If you press F6, yeah, but it's not the case. What we need to do, What about that IV filter string and IV search string input parameters? This is IV search string. It's nothing is there. Then IV filter string. IV filter string is populated now. IV filter string is populated now. But what do we need to understand here is IV filter string is like a dynamic where condition or a string. Now we can go back to our method, and here we can implement like where IV filter string. That's it. IV filter string. So yeah, because it's a here IV filter string is an input parameter, and whatever we are giving it coming here. Now let's see. Keep the breakpoint here, and let's execute. You can see now the data. We are able to see now only Indian customers, not all customers. See 192 customers. It's not only like this. You can also give here multiple things, same like select options and Kunnar. You can give greater than 100. You can do all these things. See, so this is what actually IV filter string. But you should remember, when we select get radio button, and if you give only entity set name, get entity set method is triggered. And if you want to give input question mark dollar filter equal to, then filter string will be triggered. Now let us try to understand when such string will be triggered. So for this, first let me write question mark such equal to. You write for filter string, you write question mark dollar. Dollar is the extra there, filter equal to. But for such string, you don't give dollar, question mark such equal to. But what is this I star, right? It's like a wildcard search. First, let me show how it works. In this case, filter string is not populated because we did not give question mark dollar filter equal to. So we give question mark search equal to, so whatever you have given, it is populated. But how to write the logic? But usually they search customers like country starts with I star, or maybe they directly can give IN also without star. So how to implement this? So for this, you need to write ABAP logic here. In case if they give star, you should write this extra statement, data, maybe lvstr type string. Now take iv such string into this. Here, because in case if they give star, because in ABAP star doesn't work, it is ampersand. You need to write this logic. We need to replace star with the ampersand. Yeah, here I should not write iv such string because that's the reason we have declared local one. Now, after this, here you need to write specifically because if it is a wildcard search, usually you need to know which field, where land one, and you usually write like. Usually write like lvstr. First, let us see how it works. Yeah, where I have missed. So let us do now. Keep the breakpoint here. Now iv such string lvstr. But I have given in here, but let me give, first let us test two ways here. First let me give I star. It should display the customer's country starts with I star. Here iv such string I star. You can see lvstr, then it replaces with ampersand. Now anyway, the country starts with I is only India, so you can see I think India. Maybe in case if any other country with I also you can see. See IT also. That's why before only 192 records, here 190, 270. In case if you don't give wildcard also, it will work IN. In this case, you no need to write this much of logic. Directly you can write here where land one equal to IV such thing you can write. Directly you can write where land one equal to. You no need to write this replace all this stuff in case if, but we don't know how they will give. That's what in case if they give only IN. In case if they have star for anything, this code will work. Okay. Now it will be displayed only IN related. So any questions here, guys? Is it clear? Any questions till now? Now I'm going to explain get entity. Here I will explain the significance of the key field which we selected. Is it clear, everyone?
How to pass the between operator means ranges operator in the select options?
Which operator?
Between operator.
You can write right between operator here. Same like filter string. Question mark dollar filter equal to. Here you can write like greater than one and less than one is like a between operator only, right? Question mark dollar filter
So
equal to
directly we cannot write the
kunnar,
BT here.
kunnar greater than one and kunnar less than, for example, 100. This is like between 1 and 100 only. First, let's see. It's a bad request. Maybe kunnar greater than 1 and kunnar less than 100. Have I given some spelling wrong? You can give like this land one between AN and actually it's not correct. I'm just giving that. You can use greater than less than operator. We need to check between also may work, but only thing is because some operators may not work directly here. Okay, that we need to see. Okay, but we need to see which operators, because if I give, for example, let me show you kunnar equal to 1. If I do like this, it is giving like this. Why? Because you need to give this in quotes, then it will work. This is one thing. This kind of things you should understand. And another thing is, if I do instead of equal to, if I do equal to, it doesn't work. Same way we need to understand. Okay, for between, like greater than also, for example, if you give greater than symbol, it will not work. Only GT will work. That kind of things we need to understand. Anyway, as ODATA consultant, you no need to worry for these things, right? Because UI5 Fury consultant pass all these things. You just take filter string and you will implement. But why I am telling this? Because in order to test yourself from NetWeaver Gateway client, what are the possible signatures we are discussing? Is it clear?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Any questions, guys? Anyone else? Any more questions? Okay. Now let me explain get entity method, and then we can wind up today class. In Monday class, we will complete OData with mapping other methods, and if time permits, we will also discuss function import, file upload, download, associations. Okay. Okay, fine. Now let us implement get entity method. For that, you have to go to the get entity method and change, then redefine is enabled. Do the redefine. and activate. So get entity method is used to display single record, but when usually single record will be displayed? Every key has one record, right? So, okay, before that, if you observe the parameters, you have ER entity, TS customer. It's not multiple data here, like get entity set. It's just TS customer. It displays single record. But what is the input here? The input is IT key tab. IT key tab is the importing parameter. First, let's keep the breakpoint and try to understand how to give the signature, how to test the method from NetWeaver gateway client. But till now we understood if you give, okay, this is not our one. This is the earlier project related. I'm going to gateway client. I'm selecting entity set. But if I execute now I kept breakpoint for get entity set as well, but get entity set is triggered now. Even I give question mark search equal to this, even now also get entity set is triggered. Even we have kept breakpoint for get entity. Even we give filter also. Now also get entity set is triggered. Now we need to understand when get entity is triggered. For that, you need to give in the bracket, for example, I give like this, some input. Now see, get entity is triggered, but here the input is IT key tab. If you look at this IT key tab, see, even you did not give anything, it is taken as a Kunnar one. Even I give here India. IT key tab is taken as a Kunnar. And also another way of giving signature is you can also write here Kunnar equal to 1, for example, like this. Yeah, you have to give in the codes. Now here as well, IT key tab is taken Kunnar 1. For example, intentionally, even if I give land 1, see bad request. Even if I give two values here, 1, comma, IR, two values I am giving. You can look back IT key tab. It is taking both are as Kunnar. Now, anyone can guess why it is always considering whatever we give as kunnar, or explicitly if we give other fields, it is giving error. What may be the reason behind this? Any guess from your side, guys?
Key field we have given as a conce.
Why? Because if you remember well, when we created the entity type, we have given one key field, correct? That time we selected kunnar as a key field. That is the significance of choosing the key field. Whatever key field you choose there, in case if you might have chosen land one there, then here always it considered land one as an input. If we might have chosen kunnar and land one, both are considered as input. So that key field plays significant role in get entity method, delete entity, and update entity as well, because wherever it needs a key field to display single record or to delete data or to update data, while creating entity type, that field should be selected there. Only those fields can be given as input in these three methods. We have given kunnar as a key. That's the reason it is always taking kunnar as a key. Not only here, even delete, update methods as well. If you might have given a land one as a key, it takes the same thing. If you want two fields or three fields, we should select all those fields as key there. Is it clear, everyone, on this topic? Let me know if it is not clear. Now I'm going to data provider class and I'm going to implement the logic in the get entity method now. For that, it is very clear that IT key tab has the data. We need to understand how to read the IT key tab data. Here we are getting in value. So we will do like this. Data ls key tab type, then read table IT key tab into ls key tab with the key name equal to kunnar, then select I will do single from KNA1 into ER entity, where kunnar equal to here ls key tab value. Let's do now. Keep the breakpoint now. Execute. Now IT key tab has this. Now ls key tab doesn't have anything. Yeah, maybe because whatever kunnar we have given, it doesn't have data. We need to check for the data. because leading zeros also matter here. Now you can look. See, we are able to see data now. So is it clear, everyone, when get entity method is triggered, when get entity set method is triggered, and how to implement? Any questions? Yeah, we can give multiple keys. That's what I told you, right? If you selected Kunnar land one, then you can give both. But we selected only one, so we are giving only one here. Is it clear, everyone? Okay, if you have no questions, then we can stop for today and we will meet again on Monday. Happy weekend. Thank you. Yeah, post and put I will explain on Monday. Okay.